All right, hello to everyone from Kinshasa to Kyoto, and lest we forget the worst town in South Carolina, Pelzer. You're listening to the MadPark podcast. We're recording live here at the Vault in the Playroom on Charlotte's glorious west side. Be sure to check them out at www.theplayroom.online.com. Playroom's been serving Charlotte's musical and creative community since 1994. I am Tom, and that is
Bryan.
And our guest today is also
Bryan.
Do you have a last name, Bryan?
I do, Bryan Pierce.
Okay, he's Bryan with a Y.
Yeah.
With a Y.
The other one's Bryan with a ampersand, I suppose.
Yeah, an
Batman
accent
symbol.
aigu.
Accent aigu.
Y, the few, the proud.
Yeah. Bryan Pierce is a local Charlotte quasi-legend. He's a vocalist, a thespian, but he does like women also, and also a facial hair legend. You got to see the scope of this thing he's sporting on his face right now. What's shaking, Bryan?
Until I shave it off.
Ooh, is that something you're going to do soon?
I mean, there's always an option.
I mean, grow back. I know you, Bryan. Bryan knows Bryan, and I know Bryan who knows Bryan. But are you from Charlotte originally?
I am not. I was actually born in North Carolina, but I was raised everywhere but North Carolina. But
Give me some of the towns or cities or municipalities.
Okay, we'll go through the run real quick. I was born in Cherry Point, North Carolina.
Gross.
Then it was North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, South Carolina, Alabama, Alaska, California, Georgia, South Carolina, Charlotte.
Military thing?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
At least the first half.
Right.
What branch of the military?
My dad was a Marine. My stepdad was Air Force.
Okay. Were you at Elmendorf?
We were at Elmendorf.
I had a friend at Elmendorf.
Yeah.
And that stint in South Carolina, did that any connection to Pelzer, perhaps?
No,
Good,
South
good.
Carolina. Yeah. No, I was in Chesney.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
The big metropolis of Chesney, South Carolina.
Megalopolis. Did you know that Pelzer has actually shrank? What's the past participle?
Now you're using big words like participle.
Yeah, people got the hell out at a rate of almost 50% of the population every year. They're down to maybe 80 people, I think.
They dipped.
Seriously, it's terrible.
At Pelzer?
Pelzer, South Carolina.
I guess, some cities just die.
It was never a city.
And others get absorbed.
Some cities need to die.
Well, Pineville just got absorbed
By whom?
by Charlotte. Right?
Really?
I mean, it is.
Yeah, well, it is, but they're...
It's in Mecklenburg County, though.
It is.
So it's Mecklenburg County, but as far as I understand.
Yeah.
They're still the town of Pineville.
They are incorporated.
Yeah.
They do draw... why are we talking about this?
I don't know.
How did we get here, man? You said Pelzer.
That was our last
you started giving a
podcast.
history lesson.
City management. That was Victoria Watlington. Who won? Who won, by the way?
I'm just glad
Tuesday?
that I know somewhat about geography.
Yeah. I like rocks. Whatever.
Yeah.
You got any siblings?
I have 4 siblings. I'm the exact middle.
Jesus.
Yeah.
These are things that you and I've known you for a while. We've never actually discussed because it's hard to do that with music blaring. But
yeah, 2 brothers, 2 sisters. The girls are the bookends. So my youngest sister is the youngest, and then my other sister is the oldest of the
Wait
bunch.
a minute. You're telling me your youngest sister is actually the youngest?
Well, bleh. Yeah, right. I said that wrong. Okay, so the youngest sibling is my little sister Debrina.
Yeah.
And then my oldest is my oldest sister Shannon.
Right.
Okay.
And then I have 2 brothers, Jeremy and Jamie.
Okay.
And I'm the exact middle, and we're almost exactly 2 years apart, with the exception of my little sister, who's almost exactly 3 years apart. So we're all born in October, November.
Jeez.
October, nice.
Parents had a nice clock going.
Apparently. Yeah.
Are they
Let's
involved?
not talk about that.
Oh.
Are they involved in any of the same kind of stuff you're into?
Are they creative?
Yeah. Well,
Are they also insane?
no, I'm the crazy one of the bunch, I think.
Really?
Yeah, probably. They're all talented, very talented musically. Can sing. My brother plays drums. My older sister plays piano. We're a very musical family, but I'm the one that just I didn't go into the corporate world.
Right, I got you.
Do that. I decided to go kind of the artistic thing. I mean, I did the work thing for a long time. I was partner in a construction management company, and we remodeled restaurants all over the Southeast.
Any
And
particular chain we want to know about?
Darden.
Darden.
They own Red Lobster, Olive Garden,
Oh,
Capital Grill,
okay.
Smoky Bones, all that. So I used to remodel restaurants for them.
Nice.
And so did a bunch of stuff, did all that, and then it was just, somewhere in the back of my head, it's like, what am I doing this for? Like, it's a good living,
Yeah.
but
Sure.
why? Like, the why is completely money. And if that's the only motivation, it's not particularly enthusing to me.
It's nice to have some freedom and some fun stuff to do with that freedom.
For sure.
But it also helps to make a little money. We all got to do it.
Yeah, but it was always that thing of whenever you're working and you're under like the pressure of that job, you think of all the things you do with a day off.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you get that day off and you don't do any of the things.
Because you're too you're too tired.
Yeah, too exhausted.
We
You
worked
just-
the rim blue here, sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I'm so offended.
That being said, did you have in your mind, hey, I'm going to quit doing this so I'll have time to go sing or I'll have time to act or take classes?
No, there was never like a design plan for it. I just know that I was in the middle of a small town in Georgia. I was in Albany, Georgia, and I was in the middle of like my third 100-hour work week, and it was like 3:00 in the morning, and I got back to my hotel room and I was like, "What am I doing? Why am I here? This is I'm not happy."
Are you there, God? It's me, Bryan.
Yeah, something like that. And so I called my partner the next day and said, we're going to, after we satisfy everything else that's on the books as far as contractually, I've got to go.
Yeah.
And so did that spring of 2009, and which is probably the worst time you can quit a job
Yeah.
in my lifetime.
Yes, it was.
It was like the market and everything was going, just toilet.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of friends that worked in the service industry, so I was like, I'll be a bartender, and no one was hiring bartenders. And I actually had a situation. I went and applied to a place, and I went back to check on the resume or my application, and so I went in, and the hostess pulls out 2 folders, and one said "cool people," literally on the face of it. One said "cool people," and one said "not cool people." And I was not in the cool people folder.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Was it one of the restaurants you had helped remodel?
Well, it's a restaurant that no. It was a restaurant and bar that no longer exists. So.
Oh,
I guess,
okay.
Sucks to suck.
And yeah, it sucks to suck.
Was it the Shake Juggalug in Conyers?
It was. Shall I say?
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm gonna say it was Mez at
Okay.
Epicenter. And it seemed like the kind of place, and I was like,
You could probably make some money there.
Yeah, I was gonna make some money, and I had some friends that worked there, and I thought maybe they could get me in the door. And eventually, I got an interview with a club that was opening up, and the owner of the club, I got an interview with him through a friend, and he's like, "How old are you?" I was like, 32. He's like, "You don't want to be a barback at 32." I said, "Well, with all due respect, I don't think you know what I want.
Yeah.
Give me the job, and I'll prove it." And I got the job, and that's how I kind of got into the bar industry.
Yeah.
And started bartending and doing all this other stuff. And in the meantime, I was like the whole thing in the back of your head: what am I doing? Why am I doing it?
Yeah.
Like survival instinct kicks in. You just got to do what you got to do, pay the bills. And one day I was listening to the radio, and it was an interview with Bobby Cannavale on Terry Gross, Fresh Hair.
I love Terry Gross
And
and her
amazing.
exquisite short haircut.
National treasure for sure. And Bobby Cannavale is an actor that I've always looked up to and thought he did amazing work. And it just clicked. And I called some friends that I knew were actors and said, "Who are you taking classes with?" And they told me. And got an interview that week, and here I am. Voila.
Well, generally those classes are during the waking hours.
Yeah.
And then you work the other hours. So
Yeah.
it gave you the freedom you needed.
It was good. It was good. I definitely had to, start changing the circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
From going to bed at 5 a.m.
I'm not sure that's a real word.
I think so.
It is now.
I'll check
Rhythm? Is that a word?
Rhythm.
Rhythm.
Rhythm. I got rhythm. I got music.
R-H-T-Y-R-U. Rhythm.
Rhythm.
Yeah, rhythm.
Rhythm.
So at what point did you get to the wonderful establishment you're at now?
Snug.
Snug Harbor?
Yeah.
That was kind of a harebrained idea. I had one of the girls that I knew that was acting and had actually reached out to about acting classes. I went into Jackalope Jack's years ago when it was over on 7th Street and sang karaoke, and she came out from behind the bar, Joanna Jowett, and she was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about hosting karaoke?" He's like, "No, but now I am." So I ended up getting a gig there, doing a Thursday night karaoke hosting gig there. And I would sit and hang out at Snug Harbor because it was like one of my favorite bars.
Yeah.
It is my favorite bar.
It is cool.
And I started talking to one of the owners because he was working behind the bar, and I was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing a karaoke night here? It's like a rock club, full sound system, all that stuff." And he's like, "Nah, I hadn't." I was like, "Well, would you consider it?" He's like, "Yeah, let me look at the schedule, see what we got, see if we have any slow nights, because they got to look at what bands they've booked out." So 6 months later, we started. And I was like, "Well, I'll start at 6 p.m. and maybe catch the daytime crowd, the after football crowd, and then we'll go. And if I find out that it's dead, we'll just move the time up, and I'll start at 8 or start at 10 and go on. And got to from kickoff. It's been 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. since, and it got so busy that we started having a karaoke host. I think it was like a couple months in. I was like, man, this is getting so rowdy at like 10 p.m. We don't have enough time to take care of everybody. Because like my deal is one of those things where I don't care who you are, how well you sing. It's about the experience for everybody in the room. And the perception can be like, oh, you take care of your friends. No, I want to take care of everybody. It's important that everybody has a good experience. And so we added a second host on the patio. It became 2 parties in one.
Yeah, that's a cool feature.
And it just allows people the opportunity to sing, because if you come in and there's 100 people in the room and they were already signed up a full sheet of people, you came to sing karaoke, you're not going to get a chance. You're probably going to walk out.
Yeah, I mean, I still host the karaoke over at Jeff's some nights, and I mean, it's, this past Saturday we had 4 sheets of paper.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to be like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then there's the people that come on a regular basis, so they know kind of the deal of how to do it.
Yeah.
Even if you're not ready to sing, some people need that extra shot. You're like, I can't sing. I need another shot. Like, go get some tequila, but sign up first.
Yeah.
Because I know what's going to happen is you're going to get that shot of tequila. You're going to end up talking to your friends. You're going to be here for an hour, and then you're going to wonder why the list is so long when you sign up. If you had signed up when you first walked in, maybe.
Yeah.
And
this is a little bit of a shameless plug for Snug Harbor, but I've come over there before with I've crewed up and rolled over there. And I like the fact that you guys start early.
Yeah.
Not just because it lets me get back home, at a decent hour, and I'm older now. But you go early and you got some regulars in there. We know who the regulars are, and they get a chance to sing multiple times.
Yeah.
But once that crowd starts picking up, I've never known you to be scared to walk up and say, hey, man, I got some new people in here. Let me get to them. Not a problem. That's the way it ought to be.
Especially if somebody's already sang 4 or 5 times.
Exactly.
Some of the regulars. And I'll be like, hey, let me squeeze some people in that have not had the experience. That came here.
Yeah.
Maybe they drove. I've had people drive from South Carolina to come.
From Pelzer?
Not from Pelzer. Rock Hill. Rock Thrill.
Anybody ever comes in and tells you they're from Pelzer, tell them to get the hell out.
I'll be like, you're first up, man. There's
now
only
beat
20% of you left.
Yeah, and I know that on Sundays, on the Bone Snugs and Harmony, the Snug Sundays, round about 9 o'clock, man, that crowd just starts pouring in.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I tell the owners on a regular basis. I tell pretty much anybody that'll listen that I'm kind of still surprised. Come October, it'll be 7 years of doing it, right?
Damn.
And I'm still surprised that I'm super thankful for it.
Yeah, sure.
I do not take it for granted because it definitely was a harebrained idea of something that I thought could be different than just the corner of a bar. Something that's set in the corner of a bar and flypaper. Flypaper keep people sticking around just to have some more drinks at the bar, as opposed to it being the central experience of the room. And I'm super thankful for the guys at Snug and Kelly Call, God rest her soul, but super thankful that they gave me the opportunity to do it, and still give me the opportunity to do it because what a harebrained idea that they're like, hey, we're a rock club, we book bands, we have bands come from all over the world, and we're going to have this one night where anybody and everybody can get up on the mic and do their thing.
Yeah, and you guys make them sound great. I've gone there and sounded pretty decent a couple times.
Sound guys that come in and
Get
do
your
the
own
thing.
sound guy. That's awesome, man.
That's crazy because that's not the typical experience with because when you're doing it, you're having to run sound and DJ.
Yeah, you just kind of do everything in the little box.
And it's how is that? That's probably got to be that next level of stress.
It's not.
I would say stress, but that kind of gives it a negative connotation. But
in a sense, I would say I'm trying to keep an eye on the people on stage and making sure they're not maybe
the
dropping
bucket shop
microphones or how they
issues.
sound.
Brian's trying to tell you a polite way. The bucket shop issues are not the Snug issues.
No.
but-
It comes from empathy. It's here's a guy who does this, and one of the major parts of what he does is taken out of my hands and done by a professional.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So part of me is looking at the stage to make sure, okay, what do those people sound like? Make sure they don't drop the mic.
Yeah.
Keep everything organized there, but then I'm also, fiddling with stuff here. Then
Who's next?
I'm playing in between music.
Do I need to yell over at the guy
Who's
at the door to
walking up
come
here?
eject someone?
Yeah, so I'm kind of watching.
And I'm kind of surprised at how rowdy karaoke can get sometimes.
Oh yeah. Well, it gets crazy at Snug, but you
man.
also know how crazy it gets at the bucket shop.
Yeah, and you guys have a super compressed room. Everybody's there,
Yeah.
but it's very intimate. And one thing I love about the bucket shop, and I'll give you guys a shameless plug, is that you go there and you're just met as a friend every time you walk in the door.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Unless you're not, and then
You ever
you're
get
not.
then you're- I mean,
do you ever get that? Like Saturday I worked and I get the, hey, we've been here for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
When am I gonna sing? And it's already 1:00.
yeah,
So I said, well, I don't know your name, so can you show me where you're on the list?
yeah.
They show me, and I said, well, you're here. I'm going down the list as fast as I can.
It's
and-
3 minutes. It's roughly 3 minutes per song.
Yeah, and all I get from the guy is, fuck you,
Oh yeah. Oh,
And some people get real
I
mad.
get that. I
Yeah.
get that sometimes. I have had a situation before where somebody came in the booth and got in my face, and that like it's
Over karaoke.
over karaoke.
Right.
And there's the aspect of it that's me, the human, the person that wants to address it as a
Yeah.
like you're coming at me as a person, and
Right.
I'm a person, so we can how do you want to handle this?
Yeah.
But then there's a part of me that goes, well, if I do it that way, this whole party stops, and also like he's been drinking,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
whatever, and so I just go security,
Yeah.
security, and they come and have a conversation with the dude, maybe escort him out and say come back next time or whatever, and
Or don't.
or don't. I mean, depends on the situation. That's not my call to make. I try to be neutral.
Do you ever
as much as I possibly can?
Do you ever do it outside, or is it all you're always
Yeah, no.
inside?
Sometimes I'll switch outside, and like for a few years, we've done karaoke on the 4th of July. Like they have the day party, the block party that
Right.
happens, the big picking. And so I'll do karaoke there sometimes, or any special events. I'll do it. Like we just hit one of the owner's daughters had her. She's 8 years old, and she has a thing that she does called Party Mountain. And so she does. It's awesome, man.
Is it something with cats?
Oh, that's just the name of her
Oh.
of her brand, And so she came.
Any cat puns during the show? Like, you got to be kidding me.
Dad jokes over here. But like she does a party every couple months, but this was her birthday party, and she did it all for the Humane Society.
Ooh,
and
nice.
so every dime that was raised, did a little bake sale. They raised like $1,000
Damn.
for the Humane Society.
Nice.
Pretty damn good.
And they asked me, she asked me if I'd come in and host karaoke for her and her friends. Absolutely, I love doing that. I love doing so. It's like if it's karaoke just for the money, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about any job. If it's just for the money, it's kind of doesn't have it's not as attractive.
Yeah.
Not to me anyway.
No.
Everybody needs money, and I like making money, but if it's just for the money and I don't get any there's not that residual kick of like I'm either doing good or this is a good experience, then why?
What are a couple things that are pleasant surprises when people come in? Like if they sing a really like an off the wall song, or they might come in wearing something stupid.
Oh, I love it. I love when people of all shapes and sizes and colors and different ages and the spectrum walks through the door, and I love that. That's the thing I do love about Snug and hosting that party, because it's anybody and everybody's welcome, and come and meet some new friends.
Yeah.
And we've had some crazy cool people come through there. I mean, we've had
Don't I know it?
Yeah, Hannibal Buress showed up one night. Bobcat Goldthwait came out one night. He walks up to me. He's like, man, you got some pipes on you. And I was like, dude, I love your films, man. It's like this.
Yeah.
Like my admiration for him goes back to the '80s. His admiration for me goes back 5 minutes ago. So it's like, I was like, thanks, dude. But like, what a high compliment,
Yeah.
you know? And
Especially from someone that was in Police Academy too.
oh, right, absolutely.
Are you the mayor? I voted for you.
We had a couple of people come in from Glee.
I remember that. It was like all over.
It was all over everywhere, and that's really cool, because it's like they waited their turn just the same as anybody else. Like they were super sweet, and just came in and became part of the party. And that's nothing I did other than show up the same time every week and host the party. And
You ever have one of the Sex Pistols show up?
I've never had any of the Sex Pistols.
We
show up.
did.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was
No.
not Sid Vicious.
Color me jealous. Well, dang, dude.
Somebody
really.
turned his corpse in the door.
But is the
Weekend at Bernie's.
oh, yeah. I'm assuming you probably have more fun and it's more enjoyable doing the karaoke hosting than it might be like doing the bartending.
Yes and no.
Which one pays better? I'm sorry, that's a little personal.
Yeah, I mean,
For the amount of work you do, which
but
one's better?
That's it's like what you go into work any night, and it can be aces or bust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so that's hard to say. As far as what do I like better, I like them both. The difference between them is that I don't get to ignore anyone doing karaoke.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a cantankerous, shitty bar customer,
Sure.
and you're behind the bar, you can just go next and take care of the next person. I can do that, but everyone else is watching me do that and thinks that's the experience they're going to get too, And I don't have anything to serve them except for the song they want to sing.
I'm serving them happiness.
So
I
I can't.
remember like the first place I ever did karaoke at with a group of friends before the bucket was
Performed it at or hosted?
performed it at.
Gotcha.
Was when I worked at the Observer when I first moved here. We went to Old Crown Central. Is that what it was called? And,
Crown Station.
yeah, Crown Station.
Yeah,
And Bryan was there bartending.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that was like the first. That was the first place.
That
I
was a
went
fun gig because, to the point, I was like, the reason I got that gig is I walked in one night. We walked out of the backside of the Double Door, and we had seen a show, and we were just phased completely, And I walked in, and I was like, wow! I was like, what was his name? I don't know.
You're terrible with names. Today.
Yeah, I'm terrible with names. I'm
What's his name? I don't know. Adnan Khashoggi? Who knows?
Bobcat
Yeah.
Goldthwait.
No, you know what I'm talking. Anyway, you would know who I was talking about.
Pauly Shore's uncle.
Yeah. Anyway, Hanna-Barbera. No, the
Two different people.
I know. Anyway, I was a cyclone. I was just going through the place.
Yeah.
And I grabbed the microphone and I started just, I got on stage and started singing, and then the owner comes up and he's like, "Hey man, do you want to bartend?"
You want a job or do you
That
want
was
to
the
leave?
weirdest. That was probably the weirdest job interview I ever had.
Did you
'Cause I
work
was like,
that night?
No.
Thank
no,
God.
No. But I did come back and I worked there. But like the whole thing was they had a karaoke host and I was the bartender. But I noticed when I would get up to sing, the tips, the bar tips got better.
Yeah.
Oh, I just remember like being there sometimes because we would go somewhere and get hammered after work or whatever with the Observer and then wind up there. And, Bryan would make some drinks and then there'd be like a pause at the bar because he'd go sing a song because everybody would want him to sing a song. And then, and then we'd all be like, I don't know who this guy's running karaoke, but here, take my money, Bryan.
Yeah, and it was so that was weird because I it's always like
and you were also like super friendly as a bartender.
I kind of like
Again, the acting.
Yeah.
No, I actually enjoyed bartending, and I do enjoy it when it happens from time to time. But it's one of those things. Like it is a weird thing for me to have anybody be like, "Oh, please do this thing," because I'm stoked. Somewhere on the inside of me, I'm super stoked that anybody pays attention to anything that I do.
Yeah.
And I do it for my reasons. And
I'm shallow also.
And I hope that people take notice. But like when they do take notice, it also feels weird. It's a two-edged sword, man. There's no way not to get cut by it. You just go, I'm glad you like it. I'm going to go now.
Bryan has the question on everybody's mind that goes to Snug Harbor.
Well, this is my last karaoke question because I want to talk to you about
But ask him the real question.
So, what? I know it's Bone Snugs and whatever
Harmony. Yeah.
Harmony. What 4-year-old does your Photoshop?
Well, the new ones, that's me. The 4-year-old, I think you might you're gonna eat some words. I think maybe the girl that did my Photoshop for about 3 years. She has passed on.
Oh, wow.
Her name was Elizabeth Legrand, and she was amazing. She was one of the most beautiful people on the planet. And I have nothing but love for those posters. I reuse
We
them
love them
occasionally, and I know
No, they're funny.
I know they're
funny.
the whole thing
It's
is
just that your face
on
a
anything.
bronze god man's body. Yeah, come on, man.
No, I joke, but like the thing is like
just, like,
there's
plopped
a
on
special
there,
place
and
in my
it's
heart, but I also got to know that there's like the reason why they work is because they're so ridiculous.
Yeah,
would love it.
And trust me, there were a number of conversations in the 3 years where I was like, please don't do that, and I was like, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable about that one, and she was like, listen, this is what I do for a living. She was a professional in marketing and graphic design.
Yeah.
This is what I do for a living. Trust me. And I was like, yeah. And inevitably, the one that I was the most like, oh God, was the one that was like, everybody was like, oh my God, that is the best, you know? So,
Your face on Dean Cain's naked body, something like that.
or Cher.
Kane.
Cher's face on Dean Cain's
No,
body?
no.
That actually
my
happened.
face on Cher's body,
Oh,
or,
that, yeah.
or my face on Katy Perry's body.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
They're always
funny,
just outside.
and I just
It's just
Well, Brian's not going to
crazy.
ask it, but I got a question for you for Snug Harbor. Where the fuck you supposed to park over there?
Well, yeah.
I mean, you can't park in the
It's
one
getting
parking
worse
lot.
too. It's
yeah.
getting worse too. They're selling the block.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're selling everything, like from Pecan all the way to the train tracks and all the way back to Independence. So all that parking that kind of went away because it was like now $5 to park, or you never knew. Like I didn't risk it. It's like I paid $5 to park, but now I come in, I've got a boot on my car, or my car is gone.
Yeah,
because like I'm sure the parking pay people aren't talking to the towing people. Towing people are just there to go get the money.
Yeah, gotta make it.
I don't know. It's definitely a point of contention with anyone who's lived in the neighborhood for any period of time. It chaps my ass.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool to see anything grow, but the way that it's grown, that neighborhood,
I always refer to it as they're killing the goose that laid the golden egg.
absolutely. And you know, it's gentrification 101. Everybody comes from some other place because it was cool, and then they change it back into the place they left.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's turning into not everything by any means.
Yeah.
But condos around. I love the Thirsty Beaver because it's just like, no, we're here, dude.
The world's biggest middle finger.
yeah.
It looks like the house from Up. You know, the movie
now
Up,
with the stuff,
the Pixar movie Up.
I don't watch stuff like that.
Oh man, you got to.
But I think it's about
You
about
don't have a heart.
boy with a.
You don't have a heart. He's a
some
Boy Scout.
man with a
He's gonna get his badge.
Is there balloons in that movie?
Yeah, they
Okay,
put
I saw
balloons on the
that.
house and take the whole house
The
away.
movie's about balloons.
Yeah. He makes.
So is
balloon
every
animals.
porn I ever watched.
Ah,
It's about to be.
clown.
So I was trying to do research, like we tried to
Barely.
do. And I looked at your IMDb,
Oh god.
and it said, no, you already talked about the NPR thing.
Your headshots are
yeah.
magnificent, by
But,
the way.
Thanks.
yeah.
Thank you, Zachary Perlow, and yeah,
They are good
a couple
headshots.
other people.
Yeah, no, they're good headshots.
Lacey Camp.
First gig, did I read it right that it was a Hillshire Farm commercial?
The first, the first big gig I got was selling sausage.
Mouth Meat 101.
First big gig I got was selling sausage. It was a commercial I think maybe 5 people saw, but it was like the
But Hillshire
fact.
Farms is pretty damn big.
I know,
stuff,
but it
really.
was like it was a campaign that I don't know if it was speaking of balloons, I don't know if it was a test balloon, but it was just it kind of went out there. It was national, and you kind of
Was it a new product or something?
I think it was a new concept for the way they're marketing.
Okay.
And they shot 2 commercials at the same time, so there was like me and
You went back into the not cool file.
yeah. me and a guy and doing our thing, and then they had 2 much more handsome dudes come in and do the same thing after they figured it out. We still great money, great payday, great experience, had
Great
a
for
lot
the
of fun.
resume.
Great for the resume. Met a lot of people that I still have work with.
Where did you shoot it? Did you shoot it in Charlotte?
We shot up near Mount Airy.
Okay.
Like way up 77.
So you don't always have to go to New York or L.A. to shoot.
Oh, not at
anything.
all. Not
Okay.
at all. There's so much production that happens in North Carolina, and I know with the when they did away with the tax incentive and stuff like that, we lost a lot of production to Georgia and South Carolina. But there's so much production coming back that it's I have major and massive hopes for North Carolina film industry. I mean, we've been part of the film industry for years.
Oh yeah, I remember when Dino De Laurentiis had the big deal down in Wilmington decades ago.
Yeah, and Dirty Dancing was filmed in Asheville.
Yeah, that's my mom used to go to that place when she was a kid.
Yeah, and Nell. Do you ever see that movie Nell?
That was Jodie Foster was
and
like
Liam
some kind
Neeson?
of
Yeah, they filmed that in Charlotte.
weirdo living in the woods or something.
So there's been film production here in North Carolina for years, and much further back than that. Those are the easy ones to pick out. I think Shallow How.
Goonies 4 was shot partially in Pelzer, South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
I remember being,
Speaking of Pelzer,
No goon left behind.
are you from Pelzer? Is this why it keeps
No,
coming
I'm
up?
not. It sucks.
It's just
God wouldn't have done that
It's
to
like
me.
it's stuck in his head, man.
it's our biggest viewing audience, all 80 people.
Yeah, like the biggest fan
per capita or whatever.
Yeah, your biggest fans come from Pelzer.
All 0 of them.
And I remember being working at the Observer in what was that TV show Homeland? They
Homeland,
come in and
yeah.
they, shut down
I mean,
our press room to do stuff in there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, we had, like, back when the film incentive went away, thank you, Pat McCrory.
Butthole.
Yeah, we had, what was it, Homeland, Under the Dome, Banshee.
Yeah, Banshee. I remember that.
Banshee. I mean, a lot of ones I can't recall off the top of my head, and we lost all of them, and they all went away. They either ceased, they either shut down production altogether or they moved production to someplace else, and that, that was, I hadn't been acting that long, when that happened, and it was just like, stick it to dagger to the heart, stick it to me a little bit. But like I've never thought, because of the way that I view the things that I do them for my own reasons, and I've never thought that any one event or one person could make or break what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
while acknowledging that it does take a massive amount of people to help any dream move forward.
Sure.
Do you try to tell yourself you're going to do X amount of auditions a month, or try to go out for a certain amount of roles a month? I
go out for as many as will come my way. Okay. I have a great agent, an amazing agent, Luann Curry-Bernier. She's with Monarch Talent, and she is amazing and gets me tons of auditions. What I do know and I understand about this process is that my job, once I get an audition, is to do the audition, not to look past the audition to the job, right? Because once I do the audition, that's the only thing I can control. Yeah. That's it. I got to come in, do the thing, and make my choices and be as connected to the material as I can.
One at bat at a time.
And send it off and let it go.
It's a job interview.
Yeah, it is. And
a lot of them.
And sometimes, especially with short films or independent films, you can reach out to whoever's doing casting, because you're probably talking to the writer, director, or producer, and can reach out and go, hey, I'm really interested in this role. Is there something that you saw that you might like to see different? And I've only done that one time and landed the role because of it. And I'm thankful for it, because the fact that it was somebody that I could reach out to and then developed a friendship with. And, had they not given me the role, I'd still want to be connected to them and be friends with them, because these are people that make up my tribe, in terms of this particular industry.
What about stage acting? Do any of that?
I've always wanted to do stage. I have never done stage. I've always wanted to do musical theater.
Try for CBCC Summer Theater or something like that?
It is very time intensive.
I get that.
And I teach class on Monday nights. I take class on Wednesday night. And generally those are 2 dates that are kind of non-negotiable when you're 2 days of the week that are kind of non-negotiable when you're talking about auditioning for stage. It is something that I would love to do. And I would walk into the room as green comes, knowing that I don't know anything about it. I know some things about it because I have friends that work in theater.
Sure.
But I would just be admitting ignorance the entire time and say, teach me, open book.
I know you had auditioned for The Voice at one point. To kind of preface that, what kind of got you into wanting to sing? Like, I know you do it karaoke style and stuff, but to go karaoke to audition for The Voice is a different.
I've been singing since I was about 6 in church. I grew up in church and grew up very conservative. And so in the kind of church I went to, I grew up Pentecostal, so there's a lot of singing, a lot of music, and hand clapping, foot stomping kind of stuff. And I'm very thankful for that upbringing in a lot of ways. There's a lot of things that I look at and go, hey, can't go there. Wouldn't do that again. But there's a lot of things about it that I'm very thankful for, and one of the big things is music. And so started singing back then, and obviously when you're singing in church, it's so connected to your emotion and how you feel, and everything that you sing being connected to how you feel. And that's hugely important if you're going to deliver a song with any kind of emotional attachment, and I think it's easy to get up and
gotta sell it.
Yeah, you can get up and have the vocal chops to do something, but I connect with singers who are connected much deeper than just their ability to physically do the thing.
I've seen that quite a bit at the bucket shop. Some people get up there, and I've seen some ladies get up especially, and they can really belt it out.
They can rip.
But I don't know if you can use the term pedantic with singing, but I don't know if I'm using that right. Anyway, it's a thing where they're singing, I'm going to show you my range. But they have no heart whatsoever. They're not into that song.
Yeah,
they don't like it.
And you can tell because sometimes it's not the notes you sing, it's the ones you don't.
Yeah.
And like when I'm listening to music, I'm listening to the space between as much as I'm listening to the notes they play. Just because somebody can get on a guitar and wail how many notes in a measure doesn't necessarily pull me in. It's what are you doing with the time that you have? And I think that's probably bigger. The idea is bigger than just a song or a measure of a song.
It's bigger than the both of us.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing with the time you have? I think that can extrapolate out into your life. But it's when somebody's just getting up there and showing their chops, it kind of is like,
It was like Flight of the Valkyries a little bit.
It's like I get it, and I applaud your technical expertise, but I'm not feeling anything.
Yeah.
What I'm. And then somebody can get up there. And here's the thing, going back to karaoke just for a bit, and the reason why I love doing it. And then when on days, any job you have a day where you go like, I don't want to go to work. Mm-hmm. And then you go and you see somebody that is pouring their heart out on stage because of something they went through that week. And so you have somebody that's heartbroken or in love or angry. And
recently convicted for killing a man for snoring.
Yeah, and that's possible. And it's the last song they sing before they go to court.
Or in court.
Yeah, they get up and they do that and they rip. And regardless of their actual expertise or mastery of the craft of singing, they get up and they pour their heart out. And I connect with that on so much stronger of a level than somebody who can just rip.
Yeah.
But
back to The Voice.
Okay.
How long ago did that happen? That's relatively recently.
Yeah, it was. I think it aired in February 2015. My first audition was in July of 2013, so it was almost.
Oh, okay. Let's go back a little further than
that was a year and a half of my life.
Wow.
And an acting teacher out of Austin, Texas, John Michael Davis, asked me. We were at like an artist weekend that my teacher does up in the mountains. And he heard me singing around a campfire. We just get around and sing. You got 25 artists that are just kind of there, just doing their thing, pushing their craft and their thing forward. And he's like, "Hey, have you ever heard of The Voice?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You should go on that show." And it's a weekend where you go and you set goals and you get massively attached to like something bigger than yourself. Like set some goals that are going to require some effort from you.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, cool. Come to find out, the auditions were 2 weeks from then up in New York. And so I flew up to New York. I stood at the back corner of the Javits Convention Center and walked. I think there were probably close to 10,000 people there. And stood in line and walked around and then got in the room and sang.
And how long did they give you to sing?
They give you 2 songs. They say come prepared with 2 songs a cappella, and you get in a room and the production for The Voice is such a cool one. I mean it's a produced show, but like it is, they treat you well and you're not treated like cattle. Everyone's kind all the way through, and they put you in a room with 9 other people, and you're there, and they let everyone get up, come up to the mark, and sing a verse and a chorus of the song that they've chosen. So everyone gets the same choice. And they don't go, you're like 2 bars into a song, like, thanks, appreciate it, love you, mean it. It's like they let you do your thing.
Yeah, because it's not that
good,
long.
bad, or indifferent. Yeah. And then at the end of it, they were like, thank you so much for coming, and
we'll let you know.
We'll if we call your name, we ask you to stay behind. If we don't, we thank you for coming, and we appreciate you. We're here because you're here, and we appreciate.
So you get past that first stage,
and then I made it to the callback for that, and bombed the callback for that.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. I bombed the callback, man. And
were you nervous or just tired or
absolutely nervous? It's like you're up there. You've invested all your time, invested your money to go up to New York, and then I was crashing on my friend's couch while I was there. And everybody in New York has 5 roommates. So I was like, I hope your roommates don't mind. Do you mind if I crash on your couch? It's not like if somebody comes over to my house, it's like I don't get anybody to answer to. It's like, hey, yeah, grab the couch, it's fine. So I get there, and you want the thing, you want it, and there's no talking yourself out of wanting it. You want it. Like you invested all this time, and so I got there, and I was just like, I kind of froze up. in it. And so then they invited me back after that. They're like, "Thank you so much. We'll be in touch." And I remember going out and having lunch with a couple of people that also kind of bombed, but we bonded with each other in the waiting room.
Bombed together.
Yeah, and so I don't know if they bombed it, but for whatever reason
They felt like they didn't
go
do the
ahead.
best.
Yeah, and so we went and had a bite to eat, and then we went up on the High Line in New York. And if you haven't been there, you should go. It's amazing. They took the elevated train line and turned it into this really.
I've seen pictures.
It's awesome. And so we stood there, and I've never busked before, and so one of my buddies had a guitar, and so he starts playing, and we start singing, and got a couple bucks. But we weren't doing it for the money. We were doing it to kind of like let that
A release.
Yeah, that release of that energy, just this pent up energy. And
Hey, I bet I'll nail this performance.
yeah, and if I don't, nobody will listen.
Whether
anyway.
that homeless guy wants to hear it or not.
Yeah, so we went, we did that, and then I came back to Charlotte, and then they called me and asked me if I'd come to Atlanta. I went to Atlanta. There were like 50 people in the room, and we're sitting there, and I recognized a couple people that I'd seen at the big audition and whatnot. So I'm sitting there, and I saw people come in and leave by the front door, and then a couple of people walk out with a piece of paper and go into a back room. I was like,
Ooh.
I'm getting one of those pieces of paper.
Yeah.
I don't care if I have to punch somebody. I'm getting one piece of paper, right? And so I went in the room, I sang, they gave me a piece of paper, and I walked out, did an interview, and then got into the process. They flew me out to L.A., auditioned for producers, and then it's every step of the way is like, yes, but we'll let you know.
Yeah.
It's
I've
like-
got two pals that both were auditioned for The Voice, and one didn't get far, and the other one made it
Yeah.
really far.
Yeah, and
But
it's yes, we'll let you know. Obviously, a lot of conversations probably have to happen.
It's a lot of nervousness too for
I don't
everybody.
know, 100,000 people audition for that show, or submit.
Well, I was
tapes.
going to say to
I'm
be
sure-
one of
and
the
there's gotta
50
be-
out of the 10,000.
It's yeah, and that's got to be
And that wasn't the only place that they were auditioning people.
no, and it's one of those things where when I think about the sheer numbers of it, it's mind-boggling to me. I went on a dare. I have no formal vocal training. My first voice lesson was on The Voice. I never had a voice lesson in my life, and to make it onto the show, and then I made it on season 7, and I was mic'd up, getting ready to walk in, and so we're in this Foley room, Foley stage, which is where they do sound effects and stuff, so it's soundproof, and I'm standing there, mic'd up, getting ready to walk on stage for the show, and the kid that was in the room and went on stage in front of me took the last chair.
Oh, that bastard.
So 4 or 5
Did you cut him with
weeks
a
or
dull
whatever.
box cutter?
No, I was super stoked for him, man.
Lies.
I was. It's like anything else in life. It's bittersweet. It's like, damn, I didn't make it, but bravo for you, man.
Sweet tea's not bittersweet.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
Depends
to
on where
even,
you're
to
from.
even know that you got that
Yeah.
far
Yeah.
out of the
I've never
100,000
gotten that
people.
far.
yeah,
with
and so
anything.
then that was season 7. They asked me to come and audition again, and I made it on season 8, and made it on TV, and I didn't get a chair turn, but I made it on, and they aired it twice, and that was cool, and it was an experience that I was absolutely not prepared for, like in terms of seeing myself on TV like that.
Oh man, I can't stand seeing myself
Because
on video.
it's not a scripted show, and it's not like being on Nashville or being on a film or anything like that. It's the collective population has an onus on the result.
Yeah.
Like and so you're seeing it happen. And I had some friends that own a bar, and they asked me if I'd have a watching party at the bar, and I was like, sure. And so it got blasted out, and I'm in the room. There's 150 people in the room, something like that. It could have been 2,000, and I would have been oblivious to it because it's such a weird experience, and to be watching yourself and then have a whole room of people watching you watch you.
that
Very
is weird.
Very metaphysical. Very like. And I've heard actors say before I ever started this journey and started doing any of this stuff, I've heard actors say, I don't like going to premieres and watching the film because most of the time
I could understand that.
they're probably seeing it for the first time as well.
Yeah.
With the TV show is like, I got a call, I don't know, a couple of days before, and they said, you're going to be on X night, and I said, okay, cool. And so I let the bar know, and then the Facebook blast or marketing blast went out, and I show up the night of, and I'm so nervous, and I forgot to eat, and I'm sitting there, people are buying me drinks, and it's like, and it becomes that thing. It's like, when it's your birthday and you forgot to eat.
Yeah.
But then you add that factor that everybody's waiting to see you on TV.
So was it more puke or poop?
Pleading the fifth, man.
That sounds like a yeah.
I mean, I couldn't tell you. I was.
Do you get footage of the or pictures from The Voice and use that as your part of your portfolio?
Yeah, there's pictures
your shots
from it.
with your acting portfolio.
There's a lot of pictures. The thing that they do is it shows on TV, and you can probably watch it on some streaming service somewhere. But they tend to, and I don't know if it's them or, but the footage tends to disappear off the internet. And I'm sure that's because then they can sell it to a streaming service or whatever. So, like being able to find it on YouTube is, it's like digging for a needle in a haystack. Mm-hmm. But it was weird because like they say you're going to appear on the TV show. You're going to be on TV this night, and they don't tell you anything else. And all they're required to do contractually, is your face show up on TV. They're not contractually obligated to show you singing or any of that stuff as your face shows up on TV. So it's like I'm sitting there and the show comes on and everybody's like, woo, and we're all in the bar together and hanging out. And at some point during a montage scene or like go to commercial montage, my face shows up. And all I could think was, yep, that's it. That's all they owe me. And all these people are here.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Is that all you got?
No.
Oh,
they actually aired the whole thing. I got the full treatment. It was really nice, and I'm very thankful for it. It was such an interesting experience. Even looking back now, there's a measure of it that I go, that felt like it felt like I was watching a movie of myself. Like it was almost like an out of body experience.
Outside of yourself.
Because like I'm not that person. I'm more like the handshake, let's sit down and talk kind of guy. And so celebrity aspect of it is not something that comes naturally to me.
Yeah.
And so being in a room full of 150 people, and I looked around, and every person in that room was somebody I'd had conversation with, had a drink with, had lunch with, had a personal relationship with on some level. And some of them, the closest friends of mine, family, and some of them, but every last one of them I had a specific, distinct memory with, and so it wasn't like just blank faces.
Not just somebody passing on the night.
And that was a really cool experience as well, to realize that you somehow have had that kind of effect on that many people. I mean,
I know how that is. I've negatively impacted many people. We're starting to run low on time, so let's blast through some of this.
Yeah.
Tell us about your most recent acting project. Tell us about the next one coming up. What are you working on now?
All right. The last three films that I've been in, a film called Disconnect that my friend Trey Riley wrote and directed, and was produced along with Gavin Harwell. That will be coming up at the Carolinas Film Fest October 19th, and it will be at the Tryon International Film Festival October 12th. And that I play Dad. It's a film about loss and reconciliation. Beautiful. One of my favorite projects I've ever done. Mike is coming up, and that was directed by my friend Kent Smith, and that's coming up at the Charlotte Film Fest. It's going to be in the narrative short film block on the 28th of September.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, just right in time. And then film Resilient. It's about the story of Dr. Tommy Watson. He's a real person. I got to play his coach, his high school football coach, and he's a motivational speaker. He went from having nothing to becoming a Division I football player, and then on to getting his doctorate and becoming a motivational speaker for kids that don't have anything. And I don't have the dates for the film festivals for that handy. But be looking out for that. That's going to be it's a
we'll
great
post them
story.
for you if you'll let us.
Absolutely.
Well, what's your website?
I don't have a website actually.
Or social media.
Social media. Yeah. My social media Facebook is Bryan Pierce, and my Instagram is, this is a fun one, Gooey Kablooey 75.
Jesus Christ.
GOOEYKABLOOEY 75 at Instagram, or it's at Gooey Kablooey 75.
There you go.
And background on that.
You're a child, don't you?
Absolutely, and you'll know why, because every time I say it to somebody and they ask me what my Instagram handle is, and I tell them,
I ain't gonna forget it.
they look at me kind of weird, and I was like, "Have you ever read Calvin and Hobbes?"
I'm familiar with it.
The book that his dad read to him when he was going to sleep was Hamster Huey and the Gooey Kablooey.
Couldn't fit Hamster Huey in there.
I was a big fan. It was either that or something from The Far Side, which I hear is coming back. It's coming back as an online thing, and I'm looking forward to that. Cause,
best Far Side ever is the guy pushing the wheelbarrow in hell, walking around whistling, and the two devils over the side going, that guy's just not getting it.
I always, every time I push on a pull door or pull on a push door, it's like, was it Zerg's School for the Gifted or something like that, where the dude's like leaned up against it. Yeah, that was awesome. And coming up, I'm actually shooting a film currently called Knuckles, and that's written and directed by my friend William Simmons.
You told me a little bit about this. Yeah. This sounds very interesting to me.
Really, really excited about this film. We're shooting it as a short film right now, with the goal of turning it into a feature film. And I am really excited. This is the one project that I've been a part of so far that I actually I sent the audition in, and I had worked with him previously on something we did last year, and I was a gopher. I found out that they were doing something. I was like, look, man, whatever it is that you're doing, I will come and I'll get coffee. I'll go get lunch for people. And that's kind of my thing, is like, I don't have to be in front of the camera. I don't have to be the man of the hour.
Get me in the door. I want to be a part of it. I
want to be a part of this creative process, and that's with filmmakers here and wherever. Try to approach it ego free, and so kind of developed a relationship with him. And I sent him the audition, and didn't hear anything. And then I was down in Atlanta for another audition. And it was just rattling around in my head. So I had his number. So I texted him. I was like, listen, I know you probably, you may have already cast the role. I don't know if you have or not, but if you haven't, I would like this role. I want this role. And if you need me to re-audition, if you want to see something different, you want to give me some notes, whatever, I'm happy to do that, because this is something that it's the concept of the film just speaks to me, and I want to play this role. And I ended up landing the role, and super stoked about it. Yeah. And one of the things that I've been thankful for is that I've also been able to, through that relationship with casting, you're looking at the other characters in the film, and those spots have to be filled. And I've been thankful that many of my friends have booked on this as well. So I'm not only working with my friends to do it, but we're telling a really amazing story.
That's cool. I look forward to that one.
Yeah.
We're going to let you go. I know you got places to be.
Yeah.
We don't. Well, but we know you do.
Well, I got to go to Bojangles.
You going to do Popeyes?
Every time I go there, the sandwich is out.
It's like the ice cream machine.
The sandwich. What'd you say, bro?
It's like the ice cream machine.
It's like McDonald's. Oh, that's like the McDonald's that are available to me, like on Central. Every time you go there, it's a different thing. Please, like, you go up to the thing, and it's like, can you come to the second window? Can you go to the first window? We're closed right now for cleaning. It's like, when
I need your paperwork that you are hepatitis resistant.
I went somewhere the other day, and I tried to get food, and then I wanted a sweet tea and they were like, well, we're out of ice. I said,
I went somewhere for like on Christmas. A lot of times I'll be here in Charlotte, and so me and my buddy Matt Hooker get together, who's an amazing artist, by the way.
Absolutely, we've thrown his name around some.
Yeah, if you want to have an interesting conversation, talk to that dude. But we'll get lunch or something, or dinner, and so we went to a Mexican restaurant, and they were out of rice, and I was like, what?
How's that even?
I mean, I get it. You probably got just
Were they also
rushed.
out of tortillas?
You probably got rushed, but like,
dude, it's
like any place that is known for a thing that they're out of on a regular basis. It's like, how do you do that?
Yeah, how do you go to KFC without getting diarrhea?
Who's doing your food order?
Yeah. Have you heard the story about the Pineville chicken shortage of 2017? So my wife's feeling kind of bad. I'd say, hey, I'll run down the street to Bojangles, get you some chicken. So I go down to Bojangles, pull up. The guy says, what were you going to order, man? I said, I don't know, chicken. He goes, man, we're out of chicken. What? I said, you're bullshitting. He said, well, our truck isn't here. I said, okay, don't worry about it. There's a KFC next door on Highway 51. I go through their drive-thru. I'll pull up there, and the guy says, I said, let me guess, you're out of chicken? He goes, Damn, man, how'd you know? I said, y'all get the same truck Bojangles gets? He goes, yeah, I think it's Prestige Farms. I said, later, man.
Somewhere down the road.
Yeah, my wife got
some
cheese
Maxmen
puffs.
are like getting off, making off with a truck full of chicken.
Yo, man, I got them drum hats.
Hey,
Tipped over on 77 somewhere.
hey, I got these. They fell off the truck.
And they have not been washed. Bryan with a Y, Pierce, it's been a pleasure, as
Awesome, man.
always.
Well, thank you guys for having me in. This is awesome
Appreciate
talking
it.
with y'all.
Yeah. Bryan with an I, Satina.
Yeah.
You got anything else, or you want me to do the plugs?
Nope, go for the plugs.
Did you have something else?
I will say, if you're interested in any of this,
I am.
and you're interested in acting, I also teach at the Actors Lab.
Where's the Actors Lab?
The Actors Lab is at Studio 1212. Currently, that's where we have our office space, and that's where we have our studio space.
In what area of town? What
and
street?
that
down?
is on 1212 10th Street, right outside of Uptown. And so I teach the beginning adult actors class. Pat Dortch, who is an amazing actor, friend of mine, he teaches the intermediate and advanced classes, and we're all under the tutelage of my friend and guru and acting teacher, J.D. Lewis.
Pat Dortch. Dortch sounds very familiar. That's not of the PTL Ministries.
No,
Dortch
no,
family,
no,
is
no,
it?
no. He's of. He's currently got a film that's a pilot, actually, that's showing in film festivals around the country called Limbo.
Okay.
And look it up, Limbo on Facebook.
I feel like I'm going to be
He's
involved
amazing.
with that somehow.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, thank you very much for listening or ignoring whatever it is that you do. This is Tom, and that is
Brian.
And that is
Jerry. No, Bryan.
Bryan with a Y.
Bryan
But
with a
anyway,
Y.
this has
Bryan
been the
Pierce.
MadPark Podcast. Thanks for listening to us. You can check us out at madparkdesigns.com. You can also check out what we do with MadPark Music at madparkdesigns.com. And don't forget to check out theplayroom.online.com. We were recorded here inside the vault at the Playroom, 916 Tuckasegee Road on Charlotte's scorching white hot west side.